What's up, guys? How's it going? In this video, I'm just going to compile, some of the best off-airport spots that I've landed over these past 6 months since I, got the app that shows BLM land and have kind of gone on this whole kick looking for new places to land in the mountains. We're just going to look at some of the highlights, and I might do some voiceover stuff, just kind of giving some of my thoughts or what was interesting about some of these spots or what went wrong or what I could have done better or just how I approach and what I do in order to hopefully successfully land a nose wheel airplane in places where nose wheel airplanes really don't belong. So it's been an adventure. Come along for the ride and we'll look at some of the action. So this spot I found coming home one day from a couple other locations that I'd stopped at. Really didn't expect much here. When I looked at it on Google Earth, it just didn't look like anything real exciting. And I get there and it turns out it's this awesome, group of ridges kind of out in the middle of nowhere. And I was able to land on one even though the snow was pretty heavy and it was a little bit of a downhill landing into the wind. Ended up being just this phenomenal spot. Got to park over on the edge of the ridge, had a beautiful view of the mountains. A great sunset was setting in. There were some really dark, ominous clouds overhead. Got a couple of the best pictures I've probably taken of my airplane in this location. So this spot's kind of always be a little special to me. I'd like to go back and check it out sometime. Maybe in the summer when it's green. So the spot by Mount Elbert is definitely one of my favorite spots. It's south of Leadville, over towards the mountains by Mount Elbert, which is the tallest mountain in the United States stretch of the Rocky Mountains. Independence Pass is just there on the left, and this place had an incredible view, and it was this awesome little ridge. It was pretty darn smooth, nice location, great view, just not terribly hard to get in and out, which is good because it's up high. It's at 10,000 feet, so you've got to have everything kind of working for you, especially when the density altitude is well beyond. But this is an awesome spot. I can't wait to come back. The Plateau. I've hit a lot of plateaus. This one, of course, is always going to stand out. It had just the most beautiful rock face drop off on the side of it, and the view was phenomenal, and it's just an absolutely beautiful location. Amazing spot. I wish I owned the camera I have now. When I was there, I could get some really quality photos. It's a place I'd love to go back to, but it was pretty rocky and pretty rough, so I haven't gone back yet, and I may wait a while before I go back in there and risk tearing something up just to get some pictures. But it was a cool spot. So Kachoris Canyon has just been a neat place to visit. I've been there several times. First time was with my friend Mike and his S7, and then I've come back. It's kind of a hidden gem out in the middle of nowhere. It's really flat out there, and then there's just this huge canyon, and it runs, for quite some distance, and there's several spots where it branches off, and you can really carve some tight turns down there in that valley, and it's a lot of fun. I decided that I just had to land on the bottom of this this valley, and it was a terrible idea. It's really steep and it's too tight to really get a good approach to come in there and land, and there wasn't really anywhere good to land down there. I pulled it off barely. I slid to a stop, about ran into a tree. It was a slightly downhill landing. The ground was wet. Those are things I didn't know from the air. It was really rough, and just come in with a little bit too much speed because of the funky approach, carving the canyon wall. So ended up being it was a bad idea. Way too close of a call. It's cool to be able to brag and say I've landed there. I guarantee you nobody else has ever landed an airplane there, but was it worth it? Probably not. So it's one of those learning experiences where you go, yeah, I shouldn't have done that. Probably won't ever be landing down there again. So the flat tire day, it was a really good adventure. Landed a lot of neat places this day. This particular spot right here was interesting. Trying to take off, I had a pretty good headwind coming down the hill, so I wanted to take off uphill, and I did, but I had to make 2 tries at it. First attempt, it was, you just get that feeling, where you're not going to make it, and it's good to know where that place is, and for me, I have to spend some time in an airplane before I really, know where that place is to make those decisions just quickly without any second guessing. And so I had to shut down. The good thing about trying to take off uphill into the wind is it's easy to shut down, and so it was easy to abort that takeoff and turn around and go back further down the hill and get more of a run at it. And the second time it was no problem, just climbed right out of there. So that was a fun day, hitting some neat spots. The flat tire wasn't the best, but yeah, I worked through it, got home, had a great time. Table Mountain. Table Mountain, geez, what an experience. I'll tell you what, that place was just crazy. And the video, of course, doesn't do it justice, but this mountain is massive. And when you're approaching it, it looks pretty flat, pretty open on top, and you think, oh, there's probably 20 places to land. I spent probably 45 minutes flying around that thing, looking at it, and I just kept spotting rocks hiding in the grass, and more rocks and more rocks. And there was patches of snow that were fairly thick, and I managed to land it. It was a rough landing, because that snow had refrozen and it was hard, and I didn't realize that till I got down there. And once I committed, it was too late to go around because it was uphill with a tailwind. It was just bad. I managed to miss all the big rocks, thankfully, because they are everywhere up there. So this is a place I'd love to come back and visit. It's absolutely breathtaking standing up there on the edge with that 800-foot, rocky cliff face drop off in front of you. Totally awesome spot, but high altitude, way too rocky. The wind's never favorable, of course, so it might be a while before I come back there and try that one again. So this ridge was south of Gunnison, I think, about 50 miles or something like that, and it's a little piece of BLM land up on this ridge at 10,000 feet. This place is really special to me because this was the first really true off-airport landing I'd made. 3 or 4 years ago, I went to a fly-in and met who's a guy who's now a good friend of mine named Gary, and he kind of took me out there and showed me around to some cool spots, and this was one of the places we landed that day. And I'd landed in friends' fields and dirt roads and that kind of thing, but this was, true, good off-airport, 10,000 feet. It doesn't look very exciting on the video. It's actually a little bit steeper in real life to where you can land is a little more limited. And it's not super long considering the altitude, and the winds, of course, usually don't work with you, but just a really neat spot. I've been out there many times when I'm over in that area. It's a nice spot to just stop, and it just kind of always be kind of special to me, since that was what I consider my first really true off-airport landing all those years ago. All right, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. I think it's been a lot of fun spots. These were definitely the highlights, and kind of just cut to the action on this one. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Plane will be back up and running soon. I got the parts. Should be about another week. I'll get it back together, and I'm getting anxious to go back out there. And this kind of wraps up, the first segment of the off-airport adventures that I've had. This next chapter, I guess you could say, will be starting in the spring. The snow's melting. Things are starting to turn green. I've got the new Autel Evo drone. I've got a new really nice camera and some gimbals and some other equipment. So I'm hoping to capture these locations and these adventures even a little bit better starting this. And then before too long I may put my plane up for sale and see if I can't figure out how to get into a tail dragger. So anyway, that's all for now, guys. Sure appreciate you watching. Please subscribe and like and all that crap that people like me usually ask you to do at the end of the video. And take care, guys. We'll see you on the next one.